Go.
Good morning, class.
Good morning, ma'am.
Alright, before we will formally start our class for today, may I request everyone to please stand and let us pray. To be led by Jimmy.
Let's bow our head to the presence of the Lord. Angel of God, our guardian dear, to whom his good love commits us here, ever this day be at our side, to light and guard, to rule and guide. Amen.
Alright, before you will take your seat, kindly pick up all the scattered stickers around your area. So, you may now take your seat, class. So, since we don't have a current for today, we will just do the plan B, right? So, before we will formally start, I have here an activity. So, let's have first an activity, class. So, these are situations in our daily lives that we encounter. And all you need to do is to guess or to identify rather, what are these situations. So, I have here in the box strips of paper that consist of the negative and the positive. So, today you will identify if these situations that is flashed here will depict negative or positive. Is that clear, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so first is high level of stress. So, who among you wants to answer this? Alright, Kashmir, you may now take the floor. So, you'll just paste it there. So, negative. Alright, thank you, Kashmir. And next is the parental love and care. So, anyone from the class?
Ma'am.
Sir? Yes, Carlos? Alright, so parental love and care. Next is peers who are involved in riot. Alright, Jeannie, you may now take the floor. Alright, who's that one knocking? You may please come in. Yes, Mr. Vargas, you may now take your seat over there. It's alright. So, now let's proceed to the family conflict. It is positive or negative. Since Mr. Vargas, you are late, kindly pick here if this will fall under negative or positive situations in our daily lives. So, thank you, Mr. Vargas. Next is, last but not the least, is the involvement in the communities. Yes, Jeannie. Alright, thank you everyone for participating. So now let's see if all your answers are correct. So, high level of stress. So, it is negative because it can affect our daily activities. And next is parental love and care, positive, because as an individual, we need to feel the love and care of those people who love us and surround us. And next is peers who are involved in riot. So, it's negative. So, as friends, you must not be involved in riot. Instead, you must involve yourselves in those activities that can engage in the community and can boost the confidence of every individual that surrounds you. And next is family conflict. So, it is negative. So, you're right, class. So, family conflict can affect our studies sometimes, and it can affect our emotional and especially in our studies also. Because if you are suffering from family problem, you cannot concentrate in teaching, especially teachers, right? So we all individuals have our own family conflict But as a student, if there is family conflict, we must not let these problems smash us and leave nothing but a dust. And lastly is the involvement in the community. Yes, you're right. It is positive. So, with these situations you have just identified, what do you think are this? Anyone from the class? Anyone from the class? Who among you can identify these situations? So, since anyone doesn't know what will be our topic for today, so these are situations that can lead us to our topic. So, sorry for the technical problem, but our topic for today is the drug use and abuse. So, first, what is drugs? So, anyone from the class, what is drugs? Yes, Carlos?
So for me, ma'am, drugs can be one of a medicine that dapat di po natin siya ginagamit, ma'am, because it can ruin our life and it can cause a lot of problems for us.
Alright, thank you, Carlos, for your idea. And let's see if your answer is correct. So, when we say drug, a drug is a chemical substance given to humans and animals for the treatment, prevention, or diagnosis of illness. So, Carlos is right, class, that it is any substance that we can take. For example, we are suffering from headache. We can take a drug or the medical drug that will cure our illness. So, it is any substance other than food or water that is intended to be taken or administered for the purpose of altering, sustaining, or controlling the recipient's physical, mental, or emotional state. Because we all know, class, that if we are suffering from emotional, just like those people with depressions, anxieties, or those, yung mga baliw sa CVMC, right? So, they can take drugs for them to cure themselves. Now, let's proceed to the next. What is drug abuse? So, kindly read Kashmir.
Drug abuse is the use of any chemical substance, licit or illicit, resulting to individuals' physical, mental, or social impairment.
Alright, thank you, Kash. So, when we say drug abuse, class, it is the use of any chemical substance, licit or illicit. So, for example, you are suffering from anemia, and your medicine is ferrous sulfate, right? So, you can use these drugs, which is prescribed by your doctor, 1 times a day. But when we say drug abuse, you are using or taking this ferrous sulfate 3 times a day. So you are abusing yourself, not just your physical, but also your mental health. So drug abuse may refer to any of the following practices. So using without benefit or prescription, useful drugs which have the capacity to alter the mood or behavior. So, for example, we are suffering from fever, and without the prescription, without the consultation to your doctor, our lolas tend us to take the paracetamol na ito na lang gamitin mo kasi pang sakit ng ulo to, pang fever to. So, that is considered as drug abuse. So, we must not take drugs or medicines rather that is not prescribed by the doctor. So now, using drugs and substances for a purpose different from one which the drug has been prescribed. So, as I said a while ago, it's just supporting details. So, using drugs and substances having no legitimate medical application or purposes other than researches. So, now let's proceed to the next one. So, let's proceed to the classifications of drug abusers. So, kindly read, Jeannie, the experimenters.
Experimenters, people who abuse the drugs for experimental basis.
Alright, thank you. So, they are, for example, this COVID-19, they experiment a certain vaccine that can cure the COVID-19. So, they are experimenting, yung pilot testing na tinatawag nila, no? So, they experiment that kung yung vaccine ba na yun is appropriate sa pag-cure ng COVID-19. So, that's just an example of the experimenters. And now is the occasional users. So, abuse the drug occasionally whenever there are special occasions. So, they abuse the drug once every two weeks to two times a week. So, they are just, for example, the best example of this is when we go to party, right? So, they are using these drugs to, para patulugin yung mga babae. For example, nilalagay nila sa alak, ganun yung drug na yon. So, nakakatulog yung babae. So, it is used occasionally. So, that's the best example, class. And next is regular users. So, abuse the drug on regular basis, approximately 3 to 4 times a week or every other day. So, regular users, the best example of this class is those our lolos and lolas who are taking Metoprolol. So, they are using these drugs to supplement, or it will fall pala under the drug dependence. I'm sorry. So, drug dependence, people who tend to abuse the drugs every day or about 5 to 7 times a week. So, taking Metoprolol, so it will fall under drug dependence because our lolos and lolas, parang nagre-rely na sila dun sa drug na yon para hindi sa maintenance, right, Mr. Vargas? So, nagre-rely na sila sa maintenance na para hindi tumaas yung blood pressure nila. And now, let's proceed to the mentally ill chemical abusers. So, drug abusers who manifest signs and symptoms of psychiatric disorders caused by the effects of drugs or the hallucinations, disorientations, and delusions. So, these are the people na yung mga, alam niyo yung mga addict class, they are sometimes nag-lead yung pag-abuse nila ng illegal drugs sa pwedeng maghahalusinate sila, hindi na nila alam yung ginagawa nila, di ba? So, that will fall under mentally ill chemical abusers. So, next is the Republic Act 9165 or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. So, any one of you among the class who knows something about this Republic Act 9165? So, alright. So, since no one among you knows about this Republic Act, I will just show to you a brief meaning of this this Republic Act rather. So, Republic Act 9165 or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002 is a Republic Act na nagsusupport sa mga gumagamit ng mga illegal drugs para maiwasan. So, as one of the KKDAT here in Cagayan, so this is the Republic Act that we usually educate, especially mga kabataan, kasi may mga dito sa mga negative effects na dito na for example, stress yung isang kabataan, nag-overthink siya. For example, pwede siyang mag-think na paano kaya kapag mag-take na lang ako ng ganitong drugs para hindi ko na para maiwasan na yung mga problema at hindi na ako may stress. So parang these situations, these negative situations, it can lead us to curiosity para mag-take tayo ng mga illegal drugs. So, we must not let these negative thoughts, no, na strike sa puso natin at hindi natin isipin na yung drugs is yun yung way para masolusyonan yung isang problema. So, this Dangerous Drugs Act is signed on June 7, 2002 and published on June 19, 2002 and took its effectiveness on July 4, 2002. Alright, so thank you. And now let's proceed to the classification of drugs. So, there are two classification of drugs. Kindly read Mr. Vargas.
So the two classification of drugs are natural and synthetic. Natural are anything that comes from nature, and synthetic is anything that is produced artificially or processed in the laboratory.
Alright, so we have these natural drugs, no? So, the best example of this is the marijuana. So, whose cell phone is that? Kindly turn off it and so that it will not disturb our class. Alright, it's okay. And now let's proceed to the natural. So as I've said a while ago, marijuana is the best example of these drugs because in other places or other countries, they are using this marijuana to cure illnesses. But here in the Philippines, it is not legal yet because there are some people who are abusing this marijuana for them to, parang for example sana, isang leaf lang ng marijuana yung kailangan for medicine. But yung mga people na madaming pera, inaangkat nila yung mga madaming marijuana para mabenta bilang at ginagawa na siyang illegal drugs, no? So hindi na siya legal. Hindi pa siya legal dito sa Pilipinas. And now, let's proceed to the synthetic. Anything that is produced artificially or processed in the laboratory. So, the best example here, class, is the shabu. So, pinaprocess siya sa laboratory para mag-come up yung parang... So, sino nasa inyong nakakita ng shabu, class? So, alright. So, it's good to know that any one of you hindi pa nakakita ng shabu. Pero, yung mga friend namin na pulis, no, sinasabi nila na parang tawas daw yung itsura niya or mga asin, ganun. Pero, tapos kapag tinikman mo daw, magnanamb yung katawan mo. So, that's the best example of the synthetic. And now, let's proceed to the legal drugs. Legal drugs are those that are legal drugs except caffeine, alcohol, and tobacco containing chemical or designed to treat medical problems. So, as we've said a while ago na may mga drugs na nag-cure ng diseases. So, these are the drugs na, for example, paracetamol. So, next is the prescription drugs. So, ma'am, anong pinagkaiba ng legal drugs at prescription drugs? So, itong mga legal drugs ay sila yung mga
free to buy po.
free to buy sila. So while dito sa prescription drugs, the best example dito, class, is kapag for example, you have a heart disease. So hindi lang basta-basta nagre-release ng yung pharmacy, for example sa Mercury, hindi sila basta-basta nagre-release ng medicine about na mag-cure sa heart diseases or your maintenance without writing the prescription of your doctor. So that's it. And let's proceed to pharmacological classification of drugs. So this will be three. It is classified into three: the stimulants, depressants, and hallucinogens. So when we say stimulants, class, kindly read Carlos.
So, stimulants, also known as uppers. So, any group of drug that excite the central nervous system, it increase alertness, elevate, and fatigue, reduce hunger, and provide a feeling of well-being. For example, is cocaine, methamphetamine, and shabu.
Alright, so the stimulants are called uppers. So, kung may stimulants na tinatawag nating upper, meron din dito sa susunod na downers. So, these are what we call, later we will discuss it. But before we'll proceed to that, we will proceed to the immediate effects of these stimulants. So, dilated pupils. So, parang naggaganon yung mga pupils nila. Sabi nga ni Sir Christian noon sa swimming namin, ganun daw yung signs na nakatake yung isang tao, dilated yung pupils niya. And increase in blood pressure or heart rate, breathing, or body temperature. So, hindi natin misinterpret yung mga high blood, no? Porket high na yung level ng blood pressure nila, ay, sabi ni Ma'am Princess, nagtitake sila ng mga stimulants. No, it's not just like that. But there are people who are suffering from high blood pressure, but they are not considered also as the drug abusers. But there are also people who are considered as drug abusers because of these immediate effects. And less is involving muscle twitching and less hunger. So parang hindi sila nagugutom. Right, let's proceed to the next is depressants, also called as downers or barbs, any drug or chemical that decrease the activity to refer to drug that may reduce activity of the central nervous system. So, for example of this class is the sedatives or the sleeping pills. So, tinitake natin ito kapag, for example, sana, you are stressed. Parang di ka makatulog, ganun, umiiyak ka na lang. So, yung mga ibang tao, ina-abuse nila itong mga sleeping pills, ganun, para, they can also use these sleeping pills para kitilin na ang kanilang sariling buhay. But remind you, class, that it is not the best way to escape from your sadness and loneliness. So, that's it. And these are the side effects and long-term effects of depressants, loss of body control, and may result to bone fracture. And this will be said in your GC afterwards. And next is the hallucinogens. So, when we say hallucinogens, sometimes called psychedelics. So, a drug that alter mood, perception, thinking, and ego structure so that users cannot distinguish the real from unreal. So, dito napapasok yung mga may nakikita kang parang may sumusunod na sa'yo. For example, sana si Carlos. Oh, nandyan na sila, ma'am, nandyan na sila. Hinahabol nila ako. Parang ganun yung feeling ng nakatake ng hallucinogens. So, these are the examples of hallucinogens, and this will be the immediate effects and long-term effects. So, now let's proceed to the drugs of abuse. So, number 1 is the shabu. So, alam naman natin na ito yung pinakakilalang drugs dito sa balat ng lupa or dito sa Pilipinas. Kasi talamak ang droga. Pero nung si Duterte na ang presidente, nabawasan naman ang paggamit ng shabu at mga illegal na droga. So, this is how it look like. So, shabu is the street name for the chemical substances known as methamphetamine. So, methamphetamine, yun yung other term ng shabu. Pero may mga street name din siya na tinatawag nilang sabunganay, parang ganon. Kapag may mga naririnig na kayong ganon, pwede nyo na silang iwasan kasi parang pwede din nila kayong patikimin. Kasi kapag natikman nyo na daw to, parang hinahanap-hanap nyo na siya. So, let's evict ourselves in that area. So, the contents of shabu are ephedrine, toluene, acetone, lithium battery acid, drain cleaner, hydrochloric acid, chloroform. So, we all know guys that the contents of this shabu are very dangerous, no? So, for example, acetone, pinaglilinis ni Kashmir ng kuko niya kapag polish siya. Ganon. So, gusto nyo ba na magtitig kayo ng acetone? So, it's just one of the negative, parang bad na content ng shabu. Acetone pa lang yun ha. Gusto mo, ititik mo yung acetone. Tapos, sinamahan pa ng battery acid, tsaka lithium batteries, yung mga battery ng radyo, ganon. Gusto nyo bang i-take? As in, nandun na lahat siya sa shabu. So, dito lahat ang mga ingredients ng shabu. Pero ang main ingredients nga is the ephedrine. So, that can cause brain damage. So, pwedeng meron siyang side effects, no, sa ating brains. So, these are the adverse effects. And now, let's proceed to the long-term effects and drugs of abuse. The number 2 is the marijuana or the cannabis sativa. So, yan. So, it is considered as natural drugs and at the same time, it is considered as illegal drugs. So, marijuana is the most widely abused illegal drugs in the country, produces feelings of drunkenness, increases the heart rate, lowers body temperature, and reduces sugar level. So, may makikita natin siya na reduces the blood sugar level. So, parang maganda to sa mga diabetes. Pero, kaya nga gusto nilang i-legalize yung marijuana, no? Kasi isa sa mga nakikure ng marijuana is nagpapa-lower siya ng blood sugar level. Pero dito sa Pilipinas talaga hindi pa siya approved. Kasi may mas madami pang mga tao ang abusers ng marijuana at mga illegal drugs. So, this will be their effects and I'll just send it to you afterwards in our GC. So, next is ketamine, chemically known as methylaminocyclohexane. Description: fine and white crystalline powder and it can be in liquid, tablets, or capsule form. So, pwede siyang tinuturok dito sa katawan natin. Pero mas, alam niyo ba, class, na mas malala yung epekto ng mga na ituturok na, for example, sana itinurok nila yung vaccine sa'yo na, parang vaccine siya na illegal drugs. Mas malala yung epekto nito sa katawan nyo kaysa dun sa mga tinitake nila. So, the street name is K, special K, and vitamin K, just like that. So, parang wala lang sa atin, pero this will be the ill effects of ketamine. So, disoriented behavior, impaired judgments, hallucinations, impaired coordination, possibility of being comatose. So, it can lead you to that. So, gusto nyo bang mamatay na ng mas maaga? Kaya wag na kayong mag-take ng ganito or magpa-inject. Next is the sleeping pills, or commonly known as tranquilizers and sleeping pills. They are classified as short, medium, and long-acting. This relates to the length of the drug action in the body. Length of action can also be influenced by the health of a person's liver, age, and weight. So, aka Valium, Ativan, Nubian. So, these are the side effects. Next is the cocaine, strong stimulants called as snow, big C, nose candy. So, next is barbiturates. Classified to this effect. I'll just send it to you. We'll just discuss what are the important details, no, because the time is running. So, amphetamine, the group of strong stimulants, and sometimes used to combat fatigue, event, and drowsiness, reduce appetite, and treat nervous system disorders. So, these are the common signs of drug abuse. Injection marks of an addict, stealing items can be readily sold for cash. Yung parang nag-i-steal na sila para lang may maibili sila ng pang drugs nila or pang sustain ng needs ng kailangan ng katawan nila na shabu or those illegal drugs. And next is changes in mood. So nagkakaroon din sila ng mood swings. Association with known drug abusers. So, syempre, kapag drug abusers ka, syempre, yung kagrupo mo, dun na pa kayo mag-intact. So, nai-influensyahan ka ng mga kapwa mo drug abusers. So, it is right thing na piliin natin kung sino yung mga pinakikisamahan natin. And next is change from normal capabilities. For example, noon magaling ka sa klase, nagre-recite ka sa klase, pero nag-addict ka na, nagiging right term ba na bobo ka na, at nagiging parang yung changes from active to inactive, right? Carlos Yung. And next is change in attendance at work or school. So, wearing sunglasses constantly kapag kahit na umuulan, naka-shades sila, ganun, para hindi to cover up their dilated pupils kasi para maitago nila nga yung mga parang namumugto kasi yung mga kasi dilated pupils, as I've said a while ago, na signs ng pagte-take ng illegal drugs, and poor physical appearance including inattention to dress and personal hygiene. So parang nagiging mabaho na siya, dati naman hindi siya, napakalinis niya, gano'n, pero yung mga parang dudugyot, parang gano'n, no? So that's and since we already discussed a lot about these drugs and illegal drugs, we will now proceed to our activity. So I have here one among you will perform spoken poetry. One will be performing the other group will be performing the slogan. So let's group ourselves. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So proceed now to your groupings, class. So this will be your materials. Kaya kailangan nyo pa ng ganun pag isulat or alright, class. So while you are ganun so you'll just be given 5 minutes to construct your activities, and afterwards you'll just present here in front. Is that clear, class?
Yes, ma'am. Can I ask a question?
Yes?
If we can write our spoken poetry in English or in Filipino?
Alright, it's up to you.
Thank you, ma'am.
It's how you express yourselves in Filipino or English.
Na ayaw mapupol. Ako yung kapulong.
Excuse me, class, for a while I'll just go out and ease myself. And after I will come back here, you'll present your outputs. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, thank you.
Nais ko Iba. Ako yung kakapag. Iba. Ang label ko po ako. Nabitaw lang. Ang mga bisyo. Upang sa muli.
upang sumili ko na lang. Bakit kasama mo ang tunay na ako na walang halong. Thank you.
Alright, class, are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so, well, on the other group.
Yes, ma'am, we're done na po.
Alright, so, kindly
Andres.
speak here if you will be the performer. What will be your numbers in performing? So, alright. So, the first to perform is Group 1, alright? Let's give them a round of applause, class. Go, guys.
So here are slogans. So drugs are a death trap. So it means parang we all know that po pag yung ina-abuse na po natin yung drugs, like what you said po, ma'am, it can cause a lot of problems, and it also cause parang talaga pong near to death kasi hindi po natin alam yung ginagawa natin, like what our President Duterte do. The users of drugs, if you are not getting alive, you're getting dead.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's our slogan means.
Alright, thank you, class. So, let's give them a Janisha clap. So, let's stand up. So, this will be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Very good, very good, very good. Alright, so, stand Kashmir. Let's give you a Janisha clap. So, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Very good, very good, very good. Alright, thank you, class, for participating. Now, let's proceed. Job well done, Group 1. Now, let's proceed to the Group 2. Alright, so you will be now performing the spoken poetry.
So, good morning everyone. Good morning classmate. Ang tulang aming babanggitin ay may titulong Tulay sa Pagbabago.
Sa araw-araw na aking iginugol, sa masamang bisyon na ayaw mapukol, ako'y nakakulong na para bang sanggol.
Nais kong magbago, kaakibat ang munting pagbabago, na bitawan at iwasan ang mga bisyong nakakasama sa aking katawan. Upang sa muli kong laban, kasama ko na ang tunay na ako at walang halong impluensya ng demonyo.
Alright, very good. Thank you, Group 2. Now, let's give them a Pacquiao clap. So, instead, this goes like this. So, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Laban money! Alright, so 1, 2, 3. Go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Laban money! Alright, thank you, class, for participating. Since you exerted your efforts in performing the different tasks that I've given you, I will be giving you a reward. So per group, kindly go in front and I'll give you your rewards. So just pick here. Alright. Let's have a short picture here. Alright, thank you, Group 1. And let's proceed to the Group 2.
Champion kami din.
Alright. So let's proceed to the picture taking. Alright, thank you, everyone. So to sum it up, we all know that drugs are really you may not take your seat, class. Drugs are really there are drugs that are beneficial to our body, and there are drugs that is harmful to our body. We must not involve ourselves in using illegal drugs, but we must promote in taking drugs that is prescribed by our doctor. So that's it for today, class. Let's call it a day. Goodbye, class.
Thank you, ma'am.
Alright, goodbye.
Uy! Ibabalik daw natin.
Hindi na.
ininom namin